Hi everyone, Petrik here. Today's video is a bit late because today I will be talking about all the books that I managed to finish in the month of January. So in January, I managed to finish a total of 3 novels. So yeah, quantity-wise, that's not too good because I plan to actually finish reading about 50 novels throughout this year. I don't know whether that's possible or not, but at the very least, I managed to start the year 2026 with an explosive reading experience because I managed to score a new 5 stars reading experience immediately with the first book that I chose to read in 2026. And if you have been following my YouTube channel, then you know I am talking about The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda. This book is slated to be released in May 2026. And I absolutely love this book. Now, if you have been following my YouTube channel or my Goodreads account, then you will know that I'm a huge fan of Fonda Lee's writing and storytelling, especially with the Green Bone saga, whether it's Jade City, Jade War, Jade Legacy, or the 2 novellas or collection of short stories, Jade Shards and also the Jade Scepter of Jan Lun. I absolutely love them all. And I also highly enjoyed the novella Untethered Sky. So I guess it goes without saying that there's a really good potential that I would end up loving The Last Contract of Isako, especially because straight after hearing anything about this book, Fonda immediately mentioned that this book will be her take on John Wick paired with Akira Kurosawa in a world that is reminiscent of Blade Runner or Cyberpunk 2077. And I think all of this pitch and comparison are absolutely correct. And I love this one. The entire story is told from the perspective of 2 main characters, Isako and also the flashback chapters in the second half. Now, this might feel a bit jarring, especially because you are being put in a position of Isako throughout the first half of the novel, but I do think that it is worth doing that. Now, there is an argument or maybe an alternative that maybe Fonda could have done this by doing these 2 POVs alternatively from the beginning of the novel, but I think doing it like this, this way, I'm trying to keep things vague here because this book is not out yet. But I think the way Fonda did it in this book definitely worked for me. Now, it might not work for somebody else, but I do think that this one is quite refreshing to read. By having the first half being told from the perspective of Isako first, I think that's why the flashback chapters were so much stronger because it filled the details and also the development throughout the entire novel. All of them became even more worth it in the flashback chapters, and of course we go back to the present time again. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. But the book takes place in this world that is separated or lost communication with Earth for a long time now, and in that world named Aquilo. In this world, there are a lot of corporate overlords, and Isako sometimes serve any one of these overlords depending on her contract. And the book is badass. It is filled with absolutely incredible characterization, as you can probably expect from Fonda Lee. And I do think that this is actually the best cyberpunk standalone sci-fi novel that I have ever read to this day. I think the previous title belongs to The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez, but now it belongs to The Last Contract of Isako. But do read The Vanished Birds as well if you haven't read it. But if you want to know my full thoughts about The Last Contract of Isako, well, I have posted a full spoiler-free review on my YouTube channel, or if you prefer reading, on my Goodreads account. So that was the first book that I read in 2026. And the second book, it was Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. Again, just like The Last Contract of Isako, if you want to know my full thoughts about this, I have posted a review about it on my YouTube channel. But again, this is finally, after so many years, I finally managed to read Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I enjoyed this book. I think it is a fun book. Considering how dark the book actually is, if you think about it, the events that happen in Dungeon Crawler Carl is actually pretty dark. So the humor were there to alleviate all the darkness. Otherwise, this would become a grim dark fantasy novel, not lit RPG. For those of you who don't know, Dungeon Crawler Carl has been incredibly popular for the past few years. Like, insanely popular. It is arguably one of the most popular series of books right now. It pretty much made traditional publishing take chances on lit RPG, and I think Matt Dinniman deserved it. And I still don't know whether the rest of the books, the rest of the series will be much stronger compared to Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is the first book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series as well. But I am hoping it will be that way because I enjoyed this one. It is fun, bonkers. I think Carl and Donut, they are such a great pair and such a great duo. And there were plenty of times, which is rare, where I actually smile and sometimes laugh reading the novel. I don't usually smile or laugh reading epic fantasy or sci-fi novels because most books that I tend to read, well, they are so much more serious in tone, and humor, as we all know, is incredibly subjective. But this time, although some of them are very crude and again bonkers, it actually worked for me. And yeah, I think the entire book pretty much served really well as an introduction to the entire series. What separates the Dungeon Crawler Car series, at least that's what I get right from the first book, is that the characterizations, it feels like there is more to the characterizations of Carl and Donut rather than just, I will keep leveling up, I will keep leveling up, and I will keep leveling up. That's what usually happens in many lit RPG novels that I tried. And as an avid video gamers, I prefer video games, playing video games rather than reading characters grinding. Yeah, that's my preference. So by putting more heart and putting more characterizations and determination to the main character, Carl in this case, I think it really made the book feels more special in the lit RPG genre. Now, I'm not saying that all the other lit RPG books are like this as well, in a way that all the characterizations revolve around the main characters constantly thinking about leveling up. But many that I have tried pretty much became that way, at least in the first few books of the series. And as I always say, when it comes to lit RPG and also progression fantasy, I try to think that the first two books will always be the weakest of the entire series, and I will go into this one. I will continue with the Dungeon Crawler Car series with that mindset, and with that mindset, the fact that I'm giving this, the first book, a 3.5 out of 5 stars rating, it means a good thing, especially because, again, as I always say, this is a book in the genre that I don't usually enjoy. And the first book here, Dungeon Crawler Car, is enjoyable, and I look forward to reading the rest of the series. And I do hope that the stakes, this is pretty much what I wanted more from the first book, and I do get, again, this is just the first book, the introduction to the entire series. So I expect the higher stakes will be there in the later books of the series, and I look forward to that. And finally, the last book that I managed to read, this is another advanced reading copy for a book that is going to be released, I believe, in June or July 2026. So this is for The Demon Star by JC Aragon. So this one, right from the cover art, the cover is illustrated by Kieran Yanner. I instantly wanted to read this one. I believe there was a cover reveal for this one last year from Door Books, and I instantly wanted to read this, especially because the author has mentioned that Dune, Hyperion, and books like Sun Eater, Demon Star is for all of us who love these three series. And of course, this means I do have to read it as soon as possible. And well, I gave it a try. I highly enjoyed it. And I think overall, I'm still not too sure about my rating, but at least it will be a 4 out of 5 stars rating. It is great. It is expansive. It's expansive in world building. It's rare, as I always say here, it's rare to see a debut, whether it's in the fantasy or in the sci-fi genre, that involves so many intricate world building. Like when you read this book, you know there are a lot of hints, there are a lot of implications in the past, brimming with a huge cast of characters, and also many events that have happened in the past have influenced the events in the present time frame. But pretty much what I'm trying to say is this: if you love the huge world building, the huge and intricate world building in series like Dune, Hyperion, Cantos, and Sun Eater, I think you will really enjoy reading Demon Star. I love this space opera and science fiction series. The entire narrative in Demon Star is told from the perspective of two main characters, Jason Caris and also Ysira. Jason Caris pretty much is an exorcist who kinda operates like the Bene Gesserit of this universe, okay? Not completely similar to Bene Gesserit in Dune, of course. I'm just making comparison with the ability that Jason Caris has. Well, it kind of reminded me of some of the abilities of Bene Gesserit in Dune series. And Ysira, well, I will not tell you what she is, but let's just say that she is interesting. She is very intriguing, and I love these two characters perspective very much, surprisingly. Now, this book definitely takes some time before it gets really going. There were a lot of things to introduce and also set up now, and also there were plenty of elements and also keywords, and well, you just have to be patient, just like usual when it comes to reading epic fantasy or epic science fantasy. And yeah, this I think this one belongs in the epic science fantasy genre more rather than science fiction thoroughly, or not hard sci-fi. That's for sure. It's definitely epic science fantasy like the Sun Eater more than anything else. And yeah, I'm trying to keep things more vague here. I probably will write a more detailed review about this as spoiler-free as possible soon. If you love storytelling elements such as the religious conflict in Dune, and also, again, huge world building in science fiction and space opera, and I think you will really enjoy this. And the actions here, it's pretty badass. Yeah, there were some pretty badass actions in Demon Star. It might take some time before you get used to the overall narrative and world, which is very atmospheric in my mind. But once you get used to it, it is an enjoyable, highly recommended science fiction debut novel, in my opinion. And I think many people will enjoy reading The Demon Star by J.C. Aragon. And yeah, those are the 3 novels that I finished reading in January. So overall, it is a good reading month. I have, that means 1 5 stars, 1 4 stars, and also 1 3.5 stars rating. All of them out of 5 stars rating. And of course, my book of the month, it will go to The Last Contract of Isako. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the books that I managed to finish last month. I'm trying to be more consistent with my YouTube channel, but I think I must admit that I am at the time frame where I just cannot post more than 2 videos per week. Probably only 1 video per week right now. And let's see whether I can keep this up. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. Do let me know what you think about the books that I talk about in today's video. And of course, let me know which books you read in the month of January, which one was your favorite. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.